Oh, what's going on, GameLeap? It's Top Lane Eggs coming in hot, and in today's second upload, can we get a like for the dedication? We are going to be revealing the 15 best top laners of patch 11.8, and just like our mid lane countdown, I am giving you guys the power to choose who the #1 champion actually is towards the end of this video. So if you want to know who these champions are and the rest of them, strap yourselves in for the next 10 or so minutes. Now, there are a few buffs and nerfs, guys, that are changing up the top lane landscape next patch, and I'm going to be detailing all of these and what they mean. And if you want even more detailing, then you've got to get signed up to the GameLeap website. Not only do I upload videos on the daily, which are guaranteed to help you climb, we also have the freshest and the best courses and guides that thousands of your fellow summoners are already using, so join the club. Links as always in the description and comment section. Alright, starting off the countdown, we have one of the best tanks in the game who has been picked a ton in pro play recently, and this is Sion. And you are literally the undead juggernaut because it's impossible to kill you, and you do a surprising amount of damage as well, which sums up tanks this season. Now, the strength of an early Bramble Vest, guys, with its grievous wounds and auto attack cucking, make you the ultimate counter for fighters and bruisers, and with Sunfire Aegis doing as much damage as it was prior to the 1025 nerfs, you can duel with anyone. Now, what's also great about Sion, guys, is that he is easy to play and scales super well. So if you don't have time or the mechanical prowess to learn harder champions, Sion is the perfect pick. You are always going to be useful no matter if you're 5-0 or 0-5, so pick the Nocturne dark side next patch. Now, just ahead of Sion, guys, we have one of the most annoying top laners to play against because Garen is not only hard to kill, but also hard to not die against. His point and click true damage ultimate, his synergy with Stride Breaker that gives him the fighting stats and stickiness he needs, the tankiness with Sterix Gauge, he is a nightmare for tanks and bruisers alike. And this is why the Sion has consistently had one of the highest top lane win rates this season. So if you want to be obnoxious while winning, 11-8 Garen it is. Now, speaking of winning, this next champion is a bit of a specialty in the top lane because this Yordle isn't picked as much as others and is only really played by mains, but still, Teemo is one of the most successful top laners on the Rift. And the out of the blue 11-7 buffs have solidified your spot among the best of them. In fact, Teemo in Master and above, guys, is boasting a 55%er. Now, the fact your attack speed in your passive is 2 seconds longer than before is great for when you want to ambush your opponent, and this isn't just a level 1 either, this is throughout the laning phase in the game. And then the on-hit increase in your E has insane synergy with the Nasus Tooth Spike and makes your harass even more unbearable. So if you want to put a Darius in the ground or a Garen who we just talked about or any tank, pretty much any melee champion to be honest, it's time to shroom it up in 11-8. Now, just ahead of Teemo, guys, we have a champion who was really underperforming until 11-6 when Riot buffed Sunfire Aegis, and this top laner where you would think Gore Drinker would be the best mythic item for him and his lizard, but for Kled, guys, the new Sunfire works wonders, and this used to be the go-to build before Riot nerfed Sunfire a bunch of times. It gives you the tankiness and dueling power you need to go up against the heavy hitters at the moment, and the relevance you need in late game teamfights. The 11-6 bug fix to Sterix Gauge has also helped Kled out immensely, making you harder to bring down in those teamfights so you can dive onto the enemy backline without hesitation, and these changes have seen Kled shoot to the top of the win rates across all elos. Now, coming in at number 11, guys, is a champion who got top lane buff this patch, and the buffs are as big as my forehead. So for those of you playing Rumble, it's time to take that junk to the top lane. So your magic resist is down, okay, but listen to this. Your basic attacks when you overheat are dealing max health damage now, so you can bring down bruisers and tanks with a lot more ease. And you're also getting 50% attack speed, that's 50%, when you're in the red, so you can bash your opponents over the head at all stages of the game. Your Harpoon as well is now lowering the target's MR by 10% for 4 seconds, so land both of these and you make it 20%, and your Danger Zone E adds another 5% for each Harpoon, so a possible 30% in total. So if you're a top laner, guys, and you want an early game champion who can also destroy tanks, you have to play 11-8 Rumble. Now, you are still very squishy and killable, that's no secret, but you are getting so much more power to dominate the laning phase and compete in the top lane. And Rumble mains, I want your opinion on the changes, so let me know in the comments if you're as excited as I am. Now, starting the top 10, guys, is a champion copying an indirect nerf in 11-8, but the thing is, Urgot is so strong anyway, this means little. In fact, you might even argue for it being a buff. So Titanic Hydra, your key major item, is losing some of its passive Colossus damage in the early game, but later on you will actually get more providing you build enough HP, and this is why Frostfire Gauntlet Urgot may well become even more of a force than the current Stride Breaker iteration. The extra HP allows you to tap into the new Colossus damage earlier and just expedites your scaling. The good news as well is that the on-hit from Titanic's Cleave passive is staying, as is your on-hit from your W, so you will still be purging your opponents and accruing wins as well as anyone, so keep picking Zwan's Dreadnought. Now, at number 9 on the countdown, guys, we have the first tank of the countdown who can really make use of the Frozen Heart buff coming in 11-8, and this is Cho'gath. Now, if you've been playing this season, you will know that Cho has had one of the highest top lane win rates, and no doubt this will at least stay the same next patch. So the buffed FH is giving you 10 more armor, so against AD fighters this is obviously useful, and becomes more viable against teams with Vayne, Jinx, Tristana, because you can nullify their threat with that nasty attack speed reduction. Just like Sion, you can buy a Bramble Vest early on to frustrate all the popular bruisers you're seeing at the moment like Fiora and Wukong, and your scaling is arguably the best out of all the top laners because of your ultimate, which also gives you a surprising amount of kill pressure at level 6. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that you cannot go wrong with 11-8 Cho'gath. Now, another champion you cannot go wrong with is one of the 3 most banned champions in the game, and I can honestly see this going up in 11-8 because top lane Darius is going to benefit from the jungle Darius buff that is incoming. So Riot guys are increasing your passive damage to monsters to 300%, and this 300 isn't going to stop you top lane Darius's out from farming Gromp or Krugs, and allows you to clear these camps without going through half your mana bar. So more efficient gold and XP will be on offer. Put that on top of your Stridebreaker power spike and the fact that lots of players find it very difficult to deal with you, and you have a recipe for 11-8 Ws. Now, who likes the name Susan? Well, you're going to like the 7th champion on this countdown, guys, because it's Nasus. Like Cho'gath, you are going to be better off buying Frozen Heart into the right team comp, and just the fact that you're already strong makes it impossible for me not to put the dog in this countdown. Your Divine Sunder and Mythic Spike is one of the strongest in the game because it's hybrid damage passive and its inbuilt sheen, of course, and then you have the Q cooldown buff that's still in the game from 1025, which reduced your Siphoning Strike CD by half a second, and this is what actually rocketed Nasus to the top of the win rates. And the great news is this is all still in the game, so keep withering opponents in 11-8. Now, who wants to win top lane every single game? Well, Quinn is going to give you the best chance at doing just that because you counter pretty much every top laner, especially all the really strong bruisers in the game at the moment like Darius, Garen, Riven, Fiora. They can't touch you because of your Vault, and if you harass them for each and every CS, it's extremely oppressive and impossible to lose lane unless you let yourself get ganked over and over. You also have Gale Force in there, which gives you an escape if you do get into trouble, but you can also use it as part of a combo or a finisher because the damage in its Cloudburst active is absurdly high. Like, you can combine this with your Q and your ultimate, and you almost become an assassin in the mid to late game and 1v9 games. Alright, we're into the top 5 top laners, guys, for 11-8, and before we send it, it's one last friendly reminder to check out the GameLeap website if you want to get to Challenger. Helping you improve, guys, it's what we do, it's in our blood. And I do it daily because that's how often I post videos to the website, so for guaranteed success this season, get your fingers moving and click on one of the links down below. So yeah, the top 5, kicking it off, we have a champion who even featured on our mid laners countdown, and this is Nocturne. He's that versatile. Now, I think we all know by now that Nocturne and Stridebreaker is one of the best combos. The AD, the attack speed, the haste, the health, and an active that lets no one escape when you ulti onto them, you cannot ask for much more. In lane, you can almost always get to level 2 first and have control because of the AoE from your passive in Q, and getting ganked isn't as scary as it seems. You have your W to block that Elise Cocoon or that Camille hookshot, and we all know about Nocturne's ultimate. And one trick you can do is to actually use it out of base in a different lane. So run towards mid to try win the rest of the map, or bot lane when you have your TP up so you can cover your lane afterwards. So not just great in lane, but across the map as well. 11-8 Noc is the real deal. Now guys, it's time for the ultimate autofill top lane pick. And it kind of pains me to say it because Malphite is going to be broken as again for another patch. Nothing is bringing down your power, guys, in 11-8. And as I've already mentioned, the Frozen Heart buff with its extra armor will have the biggest impact on Rock Solid because armor is the backbone of your kit. The new Immolate damage and Sunfire Edges makes it very hard for you to not win your top lane battle after your mythic purchase, and if you don't win lane, you can still carry games because of your near undodgeable ultimate. I mean, in lower elos, it is legit undodgeable. So 11-8 Malph, guys, are very hard to argue against. Maybe Rumble being back in business is the only spanner in the works, but overall, another great patch. Now, the 3 best top laners for 11-8, guys, are actually the same as the top 3 from 11-7, but this time I'm giving you the power. I want you to tell me in the comments who the most OP is out of the following 3 champions. So first up, we have Yorick, who got some massive quality of life buffs this patch, which pretty much mean enemy turrets are now going to hit your Mistwalkers and Maiden before you, so you can now turret dive and split push to an even greater extent, and the new Trinity Force is retaining all of its power, so more good news. Now, your ease damage is getting nerfed, that's true, so it will no longer be giga broken, but overall, guys, 11-8 is actually a net victory for you Yorick mains. Now, next up, we have Camille, who is the #1 champion overall in our top 11-8 champions video. But I want to know if you guys agree, because for me, with the new Trinity Force, she is insane. In fact, her win rate has increased 1.5% since the new TF was released in Diamond and above, and if you thought her damage was nuts before, well, with the extra AD from TF stats and Mythic passive, she is the heaviest hitter on the Rift. In the early game, you can punish her, that's true, but against a good Camille, it's hard to, and more often than not, they are going to get to their Trinity Spike and take over. Now, one of the champions who can beat up Camille in the laning phase is Wukong, and he can do this to any top laner, to be honest. For sure, the Trinity Force changes have helped, but even without them, the Kong was top tier. Your passive's tankiness, your E's attack speed, your Q's auto attack reset, and the fact you get 2 ultimates, that's 2 of them, it's a real effort just to stay even with Wukong. So who is it, guys? Who is the most OP? Leave your #1 in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Smash that sub button and the bell so you don't miss any of our daily content. And until tomorrow's video, this has been Coach.